You are standing in front of the Annunciation in the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. The label on the wall says one word, Leonardo. One name, one mind, one miracle. And that label is lying to you. Not completely. Leonardo's hand is in this painting. But so are others whose names are not on the wall, others who ground the pigments, prepared the panels, sketched the preliminary figures, and then watched a single name absorb everything they had built. This is not an accident. This is not an oversight. This is how the system was designed. There was a place where the greatest artists in human history were manufactured. It was not a school. It was not a studio. It was something much closer to a machine. Its name was the Bottega. Florence, 15th century. At any given time, roughly 30 bottegas operating simultaneously in the city. Loud, crowded, fast, not peaceful ateliers where inspired artists worked in silence production floors, where art was manufactured on demand for anyone rich enough to buy it. The Bottega was connected to the master's household. Apprentices ate there, slept there, worked there. The boundary between home and factory did not exist. You did not visit the Bottega, you lived inside it. Leonardo da Vinci entered Andrea del Verrocchio's Bottega in Florence around 1466. He was approximately 14 years old. Michelangelo entered Domenico Ghirlandaio's Bottega in 1488. He was 13. They did not arrive as artists, they arrived as boys. The first thing you did in the Bottega was not paint. You swept floors, you ground pigments, you prepared wooden panels, for months, sometimes longer, before anyone placed a brush in your hand. When the brush finally came, you were not asked what you wanted to paint. You were handed the master's drawings, and you copied them, not to study them, to copy them. The distinction was everything. Cennino Cennini, who wrote the manual that governed this system, was explicit. The hand must learn obedience before the eye is trusted. You trained your hand to reproduce someone else's vision so perfectly that the difference became invisible. That was the goal, not self-expression. Invisibility. Some boys stayed for 2 years. Others stayed for 15. During their apprenticeship, they were not permitted to marry. Their entire identity, every waking hour, belonged to the master's workshop and the master's name. And when a painting left the Bottega, it carried one signature, not theirs. Here is what the system understood that the apprentices did not. The master's reputation was the workshop's market value. And the workshop's market value was the only thing standing between all of those boys and destitution. Credit flowing upward was not corruption. It was the load-bearing wall of the entire structure. Remove it, and everything collapses, including the apprentices themselves. This is why Michelangelo, later in his life, told people he was self-taught, that he had learned from no one, that his genius had arrived fully formed from nowhere. His own biographer knew this was not true. Ghirlandaio's cross-hatching technique appears in Michelangelo's early drawings. His figures carry Ghirlandaio's posture. His drapery folds the same way. The greatest artist of the Renaissance spent years erasing the evidence of the system that made him. Because in a world that worships genius, admitting you were built by someone else is the one thing you cannot afford. The Annunciation in the Uffizi still says Leonardo. The hands that ground the pigments have no wall. The boys who prepared the panels have no names in the record. But here is what stays with me. Every person who has ever been trained by a system, a school, a company, a family, a culture, carries the same tension the Bottega created. You absorb someone else's way of seeing. You copy their lines until their lines feel like yours. And then, if you are talented enough, if you survive long enough, you begin to believe that the vision was always yours. Maybe it was. Maybe the system only uncovered what was already there. Or maybe the system created something and then quietly took credit for it. Michelangelo knew which one was true. He just could not afford to say it out loud, so he said nothing. And the wall kept his name, and the boys who built him kept their silence, and the machine kept running.